Hey guys, it's me Matthew again. Today I'm going to be doing another audio. And this time, this particular story isn't based or inspired by any other story. It's purely my own. It's called A Tomcat's Happiness. And this one is a bit more easier for me to read this time. And this time it has a bit more additional audio sensations. And you'll see what I mean. But anyways, I truly do hope you all like this story. So please, if you like it, subscribe, press the ding bell down below. But if you're not new here, not subscribed, please subscribe, press the ding bell down below, as well as go over to my community posts. You don't know what you may find, as well as go over to check out my previous audio series known as Anime/Dragon Knight Unlimited. But anyways, let's move on to the audio story. Chapter 4: The Wings of Elemental Power. I woke up, yawned, then saw that Sabria had nebula-colored wings, and I said, "Sabria, my queen of beasts, you need to see something." Sabria woke up and tiredly asked, "What's going on, Sabor?" Sabor, you have wings that resemble a phoenix, but more angelic. I said, "What?" I got myself out of bed and looked at myself in the mirror and said, "I thought I dreamed them up." I guess not, but you need to look at yourself in the mirror as well. Sabria said, "Okay." Sabria got out of bed and looked at herself in the mirror, then asked, "I have wings as well, but nebula instead of phoenix angel ones." Wait a minute. Sabria got something to drink to wake her up and look at herself in the mirror again and asked, "What's going on? I know I dreamed them up, but how did I get them in the first place?" I said, "I don't know, but I'm curious if we can hide them so that we don't stick out of the forest." Sabria said, "I just don't want to get experimented on." I asked, "You mean being studied to death?" Sabria said, "Yes, I do." I said, "Well, we have all the time in the world down here to figure that out." Sabria said, "True, so I guess it's not all that bad. But anyways, let's eat. I'm starving." I said, "Okay." After we were done eating, we were focusing on how to hide our wings without clothes to hide them for us. By meditating, mood dilating, relaxing, exercising, parkouring, running, jumping obstacles, etc. We experimented in different ways to try to control them, even by taking the leap and learn how to fly. It took me the second try to learn how to fly, but it took Sabria 5 tries to learn how to fly. After 3.5 hours, we called it a day of practicing, as well as figuring out how to hide our wings away at any time. We ate lunch, then watched some TV shows, movies, and played some video games. After that, we took a nap. After we were done taking our nap, we tended to the garden and then went out to hang out with Sabra and their cubs. Sabra asked, "What happened to you two, Sabor?" I said in our language, "Oh, not much. We both had similar dreams, and so we ended up getting wings as well as some extra power we've not yet discovered how to bring out." Sabra said, "That explains that, but can you explain how Sabria has them as well?" I said, "She was shot by a dead vampire hunter, falling to the ground, pulling trigger and the ball that came out reflected off the metal, hitting her heart. Therefore, she asked me to turn her into a vampire so that not only she wouldn't die, but so she could heal faster. That may have something to do with the wings, but I'm not sure if that's the real cause to begin with. Sabra said, at least you saved her, so I'm guessing those hunters were trying to kill you. I said, indeed, and they still are, but they don't know about this place as of yet. Though we do plan on waiting for Brea to begin queening at some point here in a few months. Sabra said, wow, well, congratulations, Abor. Saber said, yeah, that makes things perfect for everyone here to be more exposed to people in general. I said, hey, just be gentle with our hymns, okay? Abra and Saber said, we will. I said, good, now anyways, let's walk around for a bit. Sabria asked, so what did you three talk about? I said, about current events taking place. Sabria said, okay, well, let's get moving. Oh wait, there's something I want to show you all. Follow me. I said, okay. We walked for 30 minutes and we were going outside of a tree when we saw a beautiful waterfall that is connected to the stream down here. There was a lot of different plants, creatures, and so much more. This place is small but beautiful in multiple different ways. I said, this place is beautiful. Sabria asked. It is, isn't it? She smiled. There was a minute of silence while we took in the beauty around us. Then Bree said, come on, Thing, let's play. Thing said, okay then, let's go. Sabra said, don't wander off too far, you two. They said, we won't. Sabria said, well, let's explore the rest of this place. I said, okay then, let's go. We walked toward the waterfall, then went over to the right side of it, then saw there was a gap. Sabra called out, Bree, Thing, come here. I said, okay. We walked through the side of the waterfall, then we saw a crystal cave, and as we continued going on deeper, the space kept getting bigger and bigger. When we reached the end, we saw something bright, and when we got out, we saw the biggest place we've seen underground before. We saw a cretaceous wilderness filled with creatures thought to be extinct. There were dinosaurs everywhere down here. There were ankylosauruses, brachiosaurus, diplodocuses, and so much more. I even saw very few carnivores, such as this place was hotter than our cavern, but at least it's luminescent so that everything could be seen. I said, stay here, I need to check something out. So Bea said, okay, be careful. I said, I will. I flew off the cliff, turned around, and flew in place. I looked around for any possible ways for these carnivores to get up here without wings. I saw none other than vines and parkour jumps, but it's pretty much impossible for them to get to our location where we sleep. I flew over, landing back on the cliff, and said, there's no way for the carnivores to get to us back at our cavern and the near entrance at the crystal cave. Sabria said, oh, so that's what you were doing. Okay. What about climbing the vines with the growing up here. I said the vines are would be hard for them to climb on, so 5% chance for them that way, but double that for them parkouring up here, so I think we're good. So Grace said, good, 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 good. So Grace said, well, it was nice hanging out with you two. We're going to head back to the cavern, I said, in our language. I see. Well, it was nice hanging out with y'all as well. Stay safe on your way there, okay? Stay first. And will see you later. I smiled and Bria asked, are they heading back? I said, yeah, I don't blame them. They wouldn't be able to get back up if they tried. So Bria said, okay, well, anyways, want to try to explore some more? I said, sure. We flew off the cliff and flew around this massive place. We could only see carnivores our size or smaller, but we saw herbivores of all different sizes. This place is like a true Cretaceous wilderness or preserve. The forests were big and tall, the water was plentiful, there was a beautiful harmony in this place, more destructive than our cavern, but at least it was contained. We saw another cave that the flying dinosaurs can't get through. We flew over to it and landed perfectly and went deeper. After a couple of minutes, it was getting colder. Then, at the end of the cave, we saw a frosty wilderness that was just my style. We saw snowed grasslands, forests, giant ice overhangs leading to one part of this place after the other. We were on a cliff, but this one leads into all three levels of this place. We saw snow leopards, mammoths, saber-toothed tigers, other than saber and their cubs, the middle level, penguins, seals, white tigers, white lions, and so much more on the third level down. For me, this place was the most beautiful place I've ever seen. I loved the cold, the beautiful winter sky, the non-blinding snow at night, all of it that was nothing to do with the daytime of winter. Sabria said, wow, another beautiful wilderness. Though there is another path. Want to see where it leads? I said, sure. I smiled, and then we continued on. We followed the tunnel and ended up back behind the waterfall. Sabria said, well, that was an adventure, wasn't it? I said, it was. Sabria said, well, let's head on back home, shall we? She smiled, and I said, we shall. We smiled at each other and walked back home. When we got home, Sabria said, falling into bed, I'm exhausted. I could take a nap again. I said, same, but we could do something to take our minds off of our wings for a bit. Sabria asked, like what? I said, like actually taking a nap, or we kissed each other to the point of actually falling asleep. After we were done with our nap, we got something to eat and watched some movies as well as played some video games. After a while, we were tired again, so we went to bed and fell asleep for the night.